they gave in.
Yeah, finally. I tell you what.
Sounds like his love life.
So what do you guys do you guys have a topic every week that's sort of the same? Do you talk about entertainment or TV or?
Well, I guess I give you kind of a little synopsis of what we do. It's the idea came from just wanting to do a podcast because I've always loved entertainment. I've been doing interviews since 2006, so next year will be my 20th anniversary of doing that.
Wow.
Mama T is one of the many members of my crew that I have. Technically, we are on a little break right now because we got done doing season 5 of the show a couple weeks ago, and but since a couple people wanted to, got a hold of me later, and we were able to be around for the season, like what you and then another guy. I figured, well, I'll do some stuff, like in between, because I always had to do stuff in between sometimes.
Cool.
So it's basically we just talk about pop culture, and then we talk about what's going on in our area because we got people from all over the United States. It's not just Minnesota or whatnot.
And how long you want to go today?
Well, if it can go an hour.
An hour. Okay, good. Yeah, that's perfect for me. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the longest that we would normally go. I mean, I think the longest I've ever done was like 2.5 hours, but that's just because that person just wanted to keep talking and talking and talking. And I'm just like, oh, okay.
All right, let me know when to go, and I'm ready.
All right, I'll do that here. Got the record going. All right, perfect. So we're just recording it today because I'll air it later, rather than doing it live. So
we're not live.
No, not
okay.
We're not going to go live. We're recording. All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another great edition of, this is kind of a bonus number 2 video of season 5 of Renegade Radio, because as you know, we just got done finishing season 5 here a couple weeks ago, or about 2 or 3 weeks ago now. It feels like it hasn't been that long, but we finished season 5, but we had a couple of extra bonus videos or interviews to do, and this is the second one of the bonus because I don't want to get too much. Like normally, I normally have no problem doing as many as possible, but I didn't want to overdo it because this year with Rich on now, this makes interview number 66 of 2025. So I think 66 interviews is a good way to end it. Last year we did 73, but sometimes you can break a record, sometimes you can't, and I wasn't ever trying to break any records anyway. However, I was just happy to do. If somebody wanted to be on our show, let's get them on the show and let's see what they're all about. Well, we got Rich over here, Rich Fields, and he is nobody to slouch upon because this guy, you talk about a broadcasting legend, you talk about a guy who wasn't afraid of taking a challenge and going along with it and being, going from rags to riches, pretty much, we'll just say, no pun intended with your name being Rich and everything. But finding his spot in the pop culture world. And that's what we're trying to do. But we're honored to have Mr. Rich Fields with us. Matt, how are you doing?
This is where the announcer or the audience
yeah.
You put in some sound effects, right? Price is Right sound effects right there.
Sure, because copyright,
Frankie Slauson, come on down. Mama T, how about a new car?
Oh.
I don't think she even has a license at all.
No, how about a lovely etagere?
You got any hot dogs out back?
How about that nice microphone?
Do you know the difference between a curio cabinet and an etagere?
No.
One of the first things I asked when I got to The Price is Right, Kathy Greco, the associate producer, was on stage during a rehearsal, and I said, "It's a lovely etagere." And I said over the mic in rehearsal, I said, "Why do they call it an etagere? Why don't you just call it a curio cabinet?" And she screamed from across the stage, "One has a back, the other doesn't."
Okay.
I think the curio has a back and an etagere doesn't. You see through it. You can look through it with all the curio stuff in it,
Wow.
So there you go. You've learned something within the first seconds.
That's amazing.
Of me being here.
All sounds French to me as far as that goes. But no, we're honored to have you on, man, because like I
bless your
said, I
heart.
mean, most of us around this area, around northern Minnesota and beyond, you have no idea. Well, you probably do, because I'm sure the views are still just as good as they ever were. Of how many people are addicted to The Price is Right. How many people every day, Monday through Friday, or even if there's a way to record it, whatever. How many people watch it and are obsessed? I mean, we're talking obsessed. So yeah, it's
Speaking of obsessed, I've got my first question right out the gate here. Were you around during that whole Slauson ban?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I was even implicated at one time
What?
about Ted Slauson.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was implicated in that briefly.
How were you implicated?
By TMZ of all people. It was.
Oh, geez.
I believe it was TMZ, and they had I don't know. Somebody must have contacted and put in their ear. One of the two guys was a former meteorologist. Was it Ted? Or was it the other guy, the other winter guy?
I can't remember.
It's been so long. Anyway,
Yeah.
one of them was a former meteorologist. You'll look it up later. I think it was Ted Slauson. And they said, and Rich Fields, the announcer, is a former meteorologist. Dun, dun, dun. They literally had that music, TMZ.
Yeah.
And so yeah. Oh, yeah.
okay.
How did that even work? How did that,
I was around.
Like, was he just screaming out exact prices from the audience? Or
That's the weirdest thing. The whole show is based on people allowing people to scream out the prices of prizes on the show. I mean, it's utterly ridiculous that it would become a thing. I mean, just because the guy knew, somebody's angry now, just because the guy knew, because he was a mathematician or something, remember? Yeah. And he did these. He got the formula down, man. He made a PowerPoint presentation.
He memorized these prices.
And memorized them, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of items. So God bless him if somebody's going to, go through that kind of work and then not use it for his own good, literally helping somebody else out on stage, 2,300, Bob. I mean, so what? But anyway.
That's like using your gift, like using your talent, like being a superhero.
Exactly. It's like you being the lucky lottery scratch-off ticket that's being given to somebody. Here,
I was looking up his last name here just to see if it's spelled the same way as mine.
No, it's not. It's with a U.
No, it's a U, and mine's with a W. So I don't know who has the right last spelling of it. That's weird.
I knew you were going to get worried there that it was a relative.
Frankie, are you online? Frankie, can you see? Was Ted a meteorologist?
Check here. Let's see. Talking about his book here, the perfect bid, the contestant who knew too much. TJ Walls here, Instagram.
Where's my phone? Oh, it's in my pocket. I believe I've got Ted's phone number.
Oh, geez. Are you sure that you weren't involved?
Oh my God! You guys got the scoop.
Oh Jesus! I don't see anything about being a meteorologist, but
who was the other one then? Who was the other guy involved? Well, I can't remember his name.
I don't know. This is.
I didn't look it up far enough to.
That's why I'm glad I had Mama T on, because boy, I tell you, I wouldn't have known this stuff, because I watched the show here and there, but I was, when I heard about you and everything, I was just like, let's see what you know and everything. But I wasn't going to bring up anything that's like,
Oh no, it's not. It wasn't a torrid situation for me at all. I really had nothing to do with it. I mean, the worst I ever did there was a giveaway. I gave away a Corvette by mistake. That was the worst thing I ever did.
Oh yeah,
but it wasn't my fault.
Yeah.
It wasn't my fault.
The cue cards. It was
a lot of people should have caught the mistake before me reading it live on the air. But boy, I've heard stories of Bob being mad at people, Bob Barker being mad at people, and he never was with me except at this one point before he found out the truth, man. man, when he looks at you with those steel blue piercing eyes in a not a hateful manner, just a mother, like woo,
Like the dad
man,
look.
man, it's effective. Anyway, so I read Bob was like, Rich, what could you win? And I was like, a new car, it's the 2001, blah, 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 $21,885, Bob. And Bob stood there and we're taping,
Yeah.
and he says into his mic, Rich, did you just read the price of the car?
Oh, okay.
No.
But
Oh,
you guys, it was written in the script.
Yeah.
There was a morning table read before the show. There was a 45-minute rehearsal before the show. I mean, it could have been caught at any, plus the writer who wrote the script. There were so many mistakes of people not catching it, including me during rehearsal. I actually wondered that day if we ever got to me in rehearsal saying the price of the car or reading the car copy, because when we're going real fast and trying to get things going, they'll just be like, okay, Rich announce, and I'll go, a new car, and they'll boom, they'll open the doors, and then they'll kind of walk the model around through the car, how they want her to look and where the camera's going to be. I may not even have read the copy that morning out loud. So it was a bad mistake. $53,000 some odd dollars was the Corvette. And I believe it was the first time in a while they had a brand new Corvette on, and it was bright red. It was beautiful. My God.
And I bet they didn't have another one on for a long time after that.
And it was a big ticket item, but it's like 2 cars worth, really. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And oh God, I felt so
And what year was this when this happened?
Oh
Because
boy.
you know how cars are more expensive now when they're brand new.
Yeah, sure are. It never made it to air. It was completely cut out. We pulled out a new game for her to play, and a new prize, which was another new car. It wasn't nearly the Corvette though, and everything was edited out. They gave her the Corvette, you guys.
Wow.
Yeah. Plus, she played the game live, or live to tape, and her segment, and got to play for another new car, which I do believe she won.
Wow.
But there was no mention of that's 2 cars today. No, nothing. Oh, you won it. You won the Camaro, or something.
See, this is another. Yeah, he said this is why he brings me on, like, to say things like, Rich Fields actually won the best game show announcer in 2009.
I did indeed. That was actually a real honor, best game show announcer. I mean, certainly wasn't of all time, because there's guys before me. Johnny Olson, my mentor, the legend who I grew up with on The Price is Right, the guy who I went and saw live at The Price is Right and said, someday I'm going to have his job. I mean, he called me up on stage when I was there at 18 years old. So it was a dream come true as a little boy, and that's what my book's about. I told everybody from childhood, I'm going to work with Bob Barker on The Price is Right someday. Everybody thought I was nuts. I mean, what a strange focus to have. What a weird timeline.
What a weird goal
to walk. Yeah. So doesn't that tell you something? It wasn't like my goal. It was like divine, whatever.
Hey, I said my goal was to be like the next Wolfman Jack if I was going to broadcast. And hey, I might not be like the Wolfman Jack, but we got his nephew on our show.
You look a lot like him. So you know what? I got to work with Wolfman Jack once. I had moved from Los Angeles. I just got let go at CBS Radio in Los Angeles. They went to Jack FM, didn't have any disc jockeys at the time, and came down to Tampa, Florida here. And as part of my welcoming first day on the air, the broadcast group paid Wolfman Jack to be on with me that entire day. And it called a lot of attention to the station and me being there. Everybody wanted to tune in for Wolfman Jack, obviously. But, he was fantastic. What a personality on and off the air. Just really cool guy.
Yeah, from his nephew, Ken, that we have on, because he lives out in Vegas. And no one's ever said anything negative about the guy. Like it was always
Solid.
he had that John Candy attitude, kind of like where everybody.
Yeah. Solid human being.
Yeah, very much.
Speaking of which, what was Drew Carey like to work with? You kind of tied those arrows together.
Yeah. I was the only announcer to work with both Bob Barker and then Drew Carey. Drew, they're both really generous guys. And I've said this in interviews before, but I'll say it again for your viewers. I mean, each one was generous in a different kind of way. Like Bob Barker would give away money, like with $1 million grants, $1 million at a time to a university or a hospital or something like that. He would donate to universities a lot because he was always donating to the law schools because he wanted a new brand of lawyer, a animal rights lawyer. He wanted that to start becoming a thing, and it really has taken on tremendously in the United States, at least. And Bob was these huge grants and stuff like that, where Drew would give away to people on the street daily. I mean, I'm not to say Drew wouldn't donate large chunks. He did, but Drew's thing was he would carry $5,000 in his right-hand front pocket in $100 bills, and his goal every day, and I'm not kidding you two, was to get rid of that money. And he wouldn't give it to anybody like that worked with us. At least if he did, it was because he knew they were having trouble and it was a quiet thing. Don't tell anybody about this. He wouldn't give it to staff or people at the show. But when he was out, like, he and I'd go to across the street from CBS's The Grove, and there's a lot of places to eat over there. And so we'd go to eat over there, and he'd get French fries and a Coke, and he'd give the girl behind the counter a $100 bill, and he'd say, keep it. Or if somebody said, hey, oh my God, it's Drew Carey, and they come running up and shaking hands, it could be 5-10 people because it's right next to The Price is Right. And people who are going to the next show are over at the Grove. And so everybody knows Drew Carey. Everybody that shook his hand would get a $100 bill. And wow. Drew would actually, he told me he would actually feel a little depressed on days that he didn't get rid of the money.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
That sounds like a guy had a heart of gold because, I've always loved Drew Carey. I mean, in regards to being a host or whatever, I mean, I've listened to the shows on satellite radio, and then I watched the sitcom, and he's even been to our area too. Like when he used to do like stand up and everything, he actually stayed in Crookston, like overnight at one of the motels over there, a long time ago, like when he was like really hot. Yeah, I remember when he was just getting asked to do what was it, Little Stevie's Garage? Yeah. Sirius XM. And he sent me a couple playlists and stuff of songs, and he's still doing it. I mean, this has been 15 years. I think he's been doing it. He loves his music, man, and he knows his music. He's not just somebody who's just a paid guy to say, "Oh, put together a playlist or whatever, or host the thing. I won't take care of you." No, he knows music, and he's an accomplished accordion player. Well, I wouldn't have known that, but it sits prominently in his living room. Once you walk in, there's an old school accordion there that was given to somebody.
So you announced for his show Improvaganza. I've actually never heard that one.
Yeah. Every year, I don't know if you did it lately. I haven't heard about it, but back, I'll say during the day when I was there, every year, Super Bowl weekend, Drew would do his live improv show from the MGM Grand. And
kind of like Whose Line?
Yes, very much like Whose Line. And same cast, pretty much same cast, but it was live in front of all these people. And so I was with Drew, 3 years. So every year I did the announcing for Drew's show, and my wife and I, long Vegas story history with Drew Carey, but we'd always go to these shows, went to them, by the way, before we worked with Drew Carey, went to see these shows at New Year's. So and then the third year, my last year working with Drew, he had me on the show, actually on stage that was being filmed for GSN. So it was a lot of fun, man. I love it. He and I mean, we did a lot of improv-y stuff at The Price is Right. Most of it off the air, but.
So you were actually on the stage with Wayne and Colin and Ryan.
Yeah. I forget the bit we did. We had to supply the bit we did. We had to supply noises, sound effects.
Oh, geez.
for what was going on stage, you know. So if Drew was sawing, I was like, "Vooba, vooba, vooba." You know, people are laughing. It's just funny stuff.
Oh, I love that show.
Oh yeah, the show that you're talking about, the Who's Line. You talk about a show that about improv that gave a major salute to that. I didn't know what improv was until I started watching that show. Then I started getting more interested in that.
Isn't that
I was
something?
like, yeah, I mean,
Righty, 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 righty.
the fact that they could just make up whatever, they didn't know what it was. But of course, you probably have those people that probably think that, oh, they know what's going to happen, so they're just pretending to act like they don't know.
No, it's all improv. I mean, you can tell when it doesn't. You can tell when it doesn't work. You know, but it's all improv. Absolutely. Wayne, you know, Wayne and Drew from that show ended up getting game shows together. I mean,
yeah. You know, I mean, just become more legendary than they ever thought they would. I mean, that's what I like about people that stick with pop culture. You know, it's like, you know, I mean, you can have a controversial life, you can have a non-controversial life, but if you know your stuff, and if people say that you're a good person and that you care more about your career than you do about, you know, what you do in your personal life as far as that goes, like, to me, I feel like that's the real success of somebody. Because, like, with you, Rich, I mean, dedicating your life, you know, from being a meteorologist to being a host of all these different shows and everything. I mean, it must make you feel pretty good inside that you were able to say that I did all these things that I wanted to do, and I never gave up on it. You know, unless the only way I would have given up is if they gave up on me. But it seemed like nobody ever did. You know, it seemed like everybody just liked your style because you have that natural ability, you have that great voice, that, you know, radio announcer like voice or whatever.
I appreciate that,
like,
man.
Yeah, well,
I just wanted to do it my whole life, you know, and I never really realized what it was all going to morph into. I mean, like I said, I told everybody I was going to work with Bob Barker one day, but I think that the feeling back then was to somehow succeed him, or, you know, be his successor someday. I mean, even though I went and did other shows or, you know, hosted other stuff, it was never The Price is Right, which I think might have been in the cards for me on another parallel plane someplace, you know what I mean? But other than that, I feel really fulfilled with how things transpired. I mean, I think I voiced 9 different game shows, you know, Wheel of Fortune included. And,
yeah, 50 episodes?
Yeah, I think 50 something, 55, I think it says on the internet someplace. So,
you know, I'm, you know, looking at your stuff, I was very curious because I had never heard of a meteorologist getting an Emmy. How does that work?
Well, see, they don't give Emmys to meteorologists. The way to do that is to be listed on the Emmy submission sheet along with the 2 co-anchors of the particular newscast you're trying to get the Emmy for. And in this case, it was the 5 o'clock news at KPSP in Palm Springs, California. Trish O'Dowd and Eric, oh my gosh, don't let me forget this. He's a good friend too. Isn't that horrible? He's in Orlando right now working. And then my name was listed as well. So if it's submitted that way, guess what? Everybody gets an Emmy, including the station. So I was really fortunate in that and being able to say, yeah, Emmy Award winner.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Because when I saw that, I was like, wait.
Try to break the mold.
Yeah, no, there's other guys. There's other meteorologists that have Emmys. I'm not the only one, but
I mean, Mama T, did you know that David Letterman was a meteorologist before he became a host?
Indeed,
that was fascinating to me. I when I found that out, I was just like, what the hell? And I saw the footage and everything. I'm just like, wow, that's pretty awesome.
When I found that out, and then found out also that Pat Sajak was a former weatherman. I wanted to be a show host, a game show host. So I thought this was the way to get in. I said, okay, someday I'm going to get out to Los Angeles. I'm going to be a weatherman. I'm going to get seen on TV, and I'm going to get myself a game show. Well, as things would have it, as I'm working my way to being on the air in Los Angeles, I'm at a pit stop in Palm Springs at a CBS affiliate, waiting for something in LA to open up that I could step into. And then Rod Roddy passes away. And so it was more of, I got to jump now. I got to make this move now.
Sure.
And I was even late in submitting on the Rod Roddy auditions, you know, who is going to succeed Rod.
Sure.
But I ended up Bob ended up picking me in the end. Over 200 guys. Roger Dobkowitz, the producer of the show, told me over 200 guys were considered. So, and girls.
Wow.
So I wonder now, okay, because when they choose who the next person to take over, do they do it by? They obviously must have to go by either look because you're on the screen all the time, but I would also think they do it by voice, by like how your style is.
Right.
Do you think a lot of people have that same style like you?
No.
Same.
Yeah. Well, yeah. People are mimicking or imitating, guys they've heard on the show. Johnny Olson, Rod Roddy. Rod was an excellent guy to take over for Johnny Olson because Rod had smile in his voice, even though it was a little different than Johnny. He carried on the same cadence that the show was looking for, a new car, how about, a refrigerator freezer. I mean, there was a way to deliver stuff on that show that you normally wouldn't deliver as an announcer anywhere in life. So it was a stylized version of a game show announcer. And so what do I do when I'm asked to audition? I think of Johnny, I think of Rod, and I had done a Mark Goodson game show down in Florida. I did the Florida Lottery's Flamingo Fortune some years before it. And during that time, I was kind of doing Johnny Rod in my head, the Florida Lottery's Flamingo Fortune, stuff like that. And I'd be like, well, yeah, okay, yeah. And so when I get out to the Price is Right, I kind of knew what was expected, cadence wise, delivery wise, excitement wise. And, I kind of just tried to fit in to what the show had been, up to the 33 years until I got there, 32 years.
Do you, when you did weather, did you kind of have that same type of presence kind of?
No, God, no. Oh, no. Not at all. No.
Okay, give us the weather report.
Huh?
Give us a weather report. What's your
like how would you judge the weather back in the day? Like,
this is portions of a bit that Drew and I would do at The Price is Right off camera because you're during commercial downtime, the host is kibitzing with the audience and stuff. And Drew knew what I did in life. And we've gone to so many soccer games and did so many things, hung out at his house and watched football games, whatever, movies late at night. He knew my sensibilities. I knew his. And so one day out of the clear blue, he says to the audience, Rich Fields, what's the weather going to be like? I said, well, Drew, we got a big area of high pressure moving in from the desert southwest. That's going to continue to move easterly, bringing a shower, a thunderstorm or two to the desert southwest, along with more showers and thunderstorms as that warm Gulf Stream starts to mix in with that air. So everybody in the southeast, from Georgia to Florida, and I would just do, and people, I mean, they're like, what? Didn't know he had this. So and every day I would do the actual weather for California, for the Los Angeles weather, which wasn't hard. I mean, most days were, sunny and warm. It's going to be nice, Drew. But I'd give it a little of that, meteorologist stuff, but it wasn't announcery at all. So
you could
answer your question, Frankie. It wasn't.
There
was personality and there was a projection of your voice and personality, but it wasn't new car. No.
No, but you could have had fun with this though. I'm sure they probably would have liked it. Yeah, you can be like, hey, we're in a major earthquake coming. You better run. Run for your lives. It's coming. Natural disasters, aliens are coming.
There are literally thousands. I know on YouTube, there are literally thousands of my weather forecasts from Los Angeles and here in Florida. I retired. I guess I've been retired now like 3 years from traditional broadcasting. So even the stuff I was doing at Channel 10, the CBS affiliate here in Tampa, after I left LA, that's still online and racking up hits. It's crazy. I don't know why anyone would watch an old weather forecast. You know what I mean?
Why not? It's educational. If somebody wants to learn, because how many people, like right now in our area, Minnesota, they don't teach you broadcasting no more. There are no really real broadcasting schools anymore. So where are you going to learn? The internet, I guess.
That's been a thing for anybody wanting to be an entertainer or broadcaster since in 1979. I graduated from high school, and I wanted someplace where I could go hone a personality and learn how to connect. You know what I mean? And there was no university that offered that. There were a couple of universities that offered broadcasting programs, but they're talking about radio broadcasting or TV broadcasting. And I thought to myself, you know what? I don't have a chance to project any kind of personality on TV. You know, I listened to the morning guys at Q105 out of Tampa when I was growing up, and I'd be like, now, you know what? Those guys have personality. You know, that could translate to hosting a show someday. So even when I got enrolled at the University of Florida, boom, first thing I did was get a job on the radio and start honing some kind of personality, you know, and then hopefully in later years, transfer that over to TV. And I was lucky enough to be able to do that.
So with that, those first jobs on the radio, were you a DJ or did you like do talk radio? DJ.
I was a DJ. Did I ever do talk? I did weather on all talk stations, but I never did talk as a like a host. Everything I did for 40 years was always being a DJ someplace, music oriented.
What kind of music do you like?
I like the 70s. Showing you my age. I just turned 65, so you don't have to do the math.
Oh, I already looked it up.
I'm on Social Security. I'm on Medicare.
No, you kind of have that 70s look because of the way you dress, and I've seen other interviews and stuff of how you dress, and with the nice hairdo and everything. You have that Vince McMahon type of look.
Yeah. I know times change, but I haven't. But anyway, back to the thing about trying to be a personality or trying to be an entertainer. Nobody teaches that. You're exactly right, Frankie. And figuring out a way or a path that you can take that will somehow get you to entertainment, you know, in the early years, that's the real trick. And for me, it just happened to be radio. And you know, there's ups and downs in radio, as you both know. And there's sometimes, man, like when I went to LA, I mean, the only reason why I finally made the move from LA is because I got fired outside of Denver and I didn't have a job. And I thought, you know what? I've been trying to make it to California, you know, for so many years. I'm just going to go. I'm going to load up my little orange Ford Pinto and I'm just going to go there. No job, no nothing. I didn't have a dime in my pocket and ended up sleeping in my car. So from, you know, not having a home, well, I mean, I had a roof over my head. It's just that, you know, it had four wheels. But it wasn't like I was homeless. It was my choice.
It didn't have running water, but it had heat. I mean,
exactly, Mama. Exactly. It was my choice, though. It was the price I was willing to pay to get me to where I wanted to be. And where was that? I wanted to be on stage with Bob Barker at The Price is Right. How was I going to do that after I got there? I didn't know. I just know I was going to work real hard at it every day. And I did. I had like tunnel vision, man.
That's funny. You should. I was just going to say, if that was the price you chose to pay. Well, that price was right, apparently.
What a pun.
Ding, 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 ding. What did she win, Johnny?
Yeah. You want a new TV?
I just want a sound bar. I just want a sound system. That's all.
So when it came to getting like all the props and not the props, like the merchandise and all that, I mean, without giving too many secrets away, like, did you have to go to like a lot of local stores to find these things, or did somebody like order all this stuff and then this just came on a big truck? And here you go. You know,
you mean stuff as prizes for The Price is Right?
Yes.
That has changed over the years. Where early on, you know, advertisers were scrambling to get to Mark Goodson and Bill Todman to get their items on any show to get noticed and get some kind of notoriety. And so in the early days, it was, I don't know if it was easy, but, you know, all you had to do was contact Broyhill, let's say, and say, hey, how would you guys like to be featured on our show, giving away an entire living room set. And, you know, for the mention when the announcer says from Broyhill, you down with that? You know, 30 million people watching, 11 o'clock Monday through Friday. Oh, yes, we want to do that. We absolutely want to do that. How many of those you want to do a month? You know, be on once a week. You know what I mean? And then you go to the grandfather clock guys. Hey, grandfather clock guys, we'd like to give away grandfather clock, you know, on Price is Right for a mention on the show. you guys down with that? And how many times you want to do it? And you just keep going. And even car dealers at the time, a Chevy, Ford, everybody, they were willing to donate the car for the exposure on the show. Well, that's all changed, and for a number of reasons. But the way it's changed now, the show buys the cars outright now, and there's no stipulation to the show as to what they have to say about the advertiser. You know, I mean, we always would say it's a Chevy Corvette or it's a, you know, a BMW such and such, but it wasn't like a big commercial for the car dealer at all. I mean, at all. So if you go look at old shows, sometimes the front plate would actually have the car dealer's info on the front plate. Like it would say, you know, Joe Blow's Chevy, Ventura Boulevard. You know what I mean? Because that was the dealership that was donating it to The Price is Right. And so getting prizes has changed a lot. There are still people that still, you know, want to be on the show and want to do it for the mentions, but they got away from, you know, the little, you know, what fee items are. Those are the little tiny items that, you know, there'll be 6 or 8 of them up there, and you got to put them in order as to what, you know, lowest to highest price. Little fee of Campbell's soup would be a can, and then a pack of gum, and then this. Well, from the old days of saying Campbell's soup, this 8-ounce can of Campbell's cream of mushroom soup, blah blah blah, you know, to being literally a little commercial for Campbell's. Nowadays, it's a can of cream of mushroom soup. Instead of it's a pack of Wrigley's gum, it's a pack of gum. So there's no more, and these people aren't donating the items. The show's going out and buying the item and literally putting it on gratis.
Wow.
You know, I can only imagine.
How do they afford that? That's just mind blowing.
Yeah,
to buy all this stuff. I mean, ticket sales. I mean,
well, did you say ticket sales?
yeah.
I was the only one selling any audience tickets. I'm just trying to make a headline for the Price is Right. Yeah, exactly. Rich Fields. No, there's no ticket sales at all. No, it's just, you know, the way things change, and instead of hoping and praying you get enough items, you just go get them and put them in. You know what I mean?
Well, I can only imagine what it would be like if I knew you personally, and then you and I really like to go shopping together at various stores. Have you ever just throw your voice and all, just randomly when you talk with your wife or whatever?
No, I hide.
You know, you can sell the whole thing to them.
No, I hide. We just recently, well, actually, it was a year ago, October. We went through 2 hurricanes back to back down here in Clearwater, Florida, Tampa, Florida area. Helene, and then Gilbert, was it? Gordon, yeah. Gilbert. And Helene was a flood, and Gilbert was all tornadoes and wind damage. But the flood, we live on Clearwater Beach, and you know, we're maybe 6 feet above sea level, and we had like 8 foot. We had like 8 foot tidal surge, so everybody's house was flooded down here, and everything was destroyed. Everything. All the appliances, all the wallboard, all the carpeting, everything, anything you had on the floors. So in the middle of regutting and recouping from that this past year, my wife and I have been finding stuff everywhere that we're like, you know, do we need this anymore? Really? And stuff that was damaged, we just threw out like buckets full. I mean, bags full. But it also inspired us to start getting rid of stuff. And one of the things I was doing was getting rid of old T-shirts. And I happened to come across a bunch of Price is Right stuff from not only my era of being there, but even some stuff that guys had given to me from the show from past eras of The Price is Right. And I don't know why I ever kept it. I loved it. It was cool, but I never wore it. And you know, Frank, you're talking about, you know, going out to the store and going, a new car, you know. I try to hide. And so that's why I never wear Price is Right stuff. I've got some killer jackets that were like Christmas gifts from the production company, you know, all kinds of stuff, rain slickers and everything, you know, with beautiful Price is Right logos on them and stitched on some of the cooler jackets, you know, the bomber jackets. I can't wear it because, number one, I don't want anybody to think, oh, he's out there wearing a Price is Right jacket 15 years later. What's he trying to, is he trying to get, you know, somebody to notice him? And no, and I'm not. So I hide. I don't
Okay.
But then I was a weatherman. For years I was off the air doing radio. I had left The Price is Right, and I did Wheel of Fortune, and then left LA, and I was down here, and I thought I'd retired, but then, just when you're out, they pull you back in. And Q105, the big powerhouse FM radio station here in Tampa, found out that I was back home here in Florida. And I got in contact with Mason Dixon, legendary old DJ. And so they put me on the air prime time, 3 to 7 p.m. And all of a sudden I'm back on every day again and doing all this stuff. And then I did TV here in Tampa. And now, I mean, you're a big fish in a small pond, you know what I mean? And you could be out to dinner anywhere. And if you're on television in Tampa, it's like, oh my God, there's that guy. And I don't mind it. My wife and I were so used to it, working at The Price is Right and other television shows out in Los Angeles. I welcomed people to come up. I was always trying to be as gracious as I could. I kind of learned that. I mean, it was that way anyway, but I kind of learned that from Mr. Barker. We'd be at dinner with him, and people would come up. We'd be in West Hollywood at one of his favorite places, Antonio's, and we'd just be eating, talking, and people would come, oh, Mr. Barker, oh my gosh. And Bob would get up, I don't want to get out of camera, but he would get up so graciously, and he'd shake every one of their hands. What's your name? And where are you guys from? You traveled all the way from Nebraska just to come to Antonio's to see me today? Bob was so cool, and they'd laugh, and we tried to get tickets to The Price is Right, Bob. We couldn't get in. Oh, I wish I could help you, but I've got nothing to do with that. But how would you like a picture together? Oh my God, yes, absolutely. So he would suggest it before them. He looked even more gracious, but it was Bob's way of speeding up the process.
Yeah.
Sure. Would you like to take a picture together? Oh God,
get done before his food gets
I was Bob's photographer. I can't tell you how many photographs I've taken of Bob and people. I was always Bob's photographer. So, and I knew now, as soon as Bob said, would you like a photograph together? I knew that was my cue. And I'd go, do one of you have a camera or a cell phone? I'll take the photo for you. And I'd get up from the table and I'd say, everybody get around Mr. Barker. But no, get Bob in the middle. I'd do that. All right, everybody smile. Here we go. Click. And okay, there you go. And Bob, it would be a pleasure to meet you. And they'd disappear. So I tried to learn to be gracious with everybody, no matter who came up to a table at dinner or whatever. So,
wow. That's awesome because, you have that memory, that most people only dream to have. I mean, think about that and everything that he probably taught you, in your career of working with Bob, and same with Drew too. I'm sure Drew had some good advice for you, and so why did you decide to leave? Was it just because of retirement, or did somebody else want the job, or?
No, they came to a point in the show. I'd found this out in retrospect, but when Mr. Barker was leaving the show, I actually had a conversation with my wife, and I said, "Gee, God, do we really want to stay with the show? They're going to change it. It's never going to be the same. God knows what kind of schlock person they're going to get in there. Do we want to be associated with the show jumping the shark?" And the consensus between the two of us was wait and see. Don't tell him you're done and gone, because I was ready to jump to weather when Mr. Barker retired. I was ready to go to CBS weather then. And then they hired Drew Carey. And he actually called me, boy, if I knew you guys were going to be talking about this today, I'd actually play you the phone call from my computer. The day he called me, that's how I found out it was Drew Carey. He called. They gave him my phone number. He must have asked for it. He's from Cleveland. I'm from Cleveland. We're only a year apart in age. And he called and said, "Hey, Rich, this is Drew Carey. I don't know if you've heard or not, but I'm going to be the new host of The Price is Right, man. And I thought maybe we get together, have some lunch or go see a ball game or something." And it was really friendly, real cool conversation, or a phone message. And so I was like, oh, God almighty, Drew Carey is the host of The Price is Right. This is going to be awesome. So I was all in on a new contract and a new deal. But this is the part I found out after the fact. Behind the scenes, they wanted to clean house completely of anything and everything that was Mr. Barker. They wanted this show to be the new host's show in all ways, shapes, and forms. They wanted to change out everything. And that included me. And Roger Dobkowitz, the producer of the show, got a phone call from somebody at Fremantle Media, and they said, "Hey, start looking for another announcer. We're getting rid of Rich." And Roger was like, "You're what?" We went through 200 guys to find him 3 years ago. The host is leaving, and now you want to do this too? Well, that was the writing on the wall for Roger and everybody down below that, yeah, if they're willing to go that far, guess what? Everybody's job eventually was going to be gone. Well, Roger happened to be talking with Mr. Barker. Bob used to call. He's retired. It's the summer between his retirement and Drew starting. And Bob would call Roger like once a week and say, "Hey, how's it going at the show?" And Roger said to him, "They're going to fire Rich." And Bob said, "What?" And he said, "Yeah, they're going to let go of Rich." And Bob said, I'll call you back. And he called Fremantle Media, and he got a hold of the people who he needed to talk to. And he said, "Look, you're making a huge mistake. You don't get rid of a host. You don't change out the host and the voice of the show. Those are the two things holding the glue together. You don't do them both. You're going to blow off every single viewer that I ever had for 40 years. That's suicide. Promise me you won't do this." And they didn't. They called me in. They slid a new 3-year deal in front of me. Everything was better than the last 3-year deal. And it was going to now be with Drew Carey, a guy from Cleveland, Ohio, who I knew, was going to be freaking a beautiful thing. So I go through 3 years of Drew Carey. And all the while, they're slowly getting rid of everybody on the show. Roger Dobkowitz, Kathy Greco, everybody, all the producers, anybody that had anything to do with that show pretty much was let go. A few office people were left from behind the scenes. That was it. One model, I think.
Wow.
And that was Rachel Reynolds. I can't remember if models all changed over at the Drew Carey era or not. But anyway, 3 years later, or when Drew took over, a new young executive producer came in. And that's how we knew Roger was going to be gone. And boom, sure enough, he fires Roger. And then he started letting all these other people go. And he did not care for me. This guy was one of the auditioners for Bob's job, believe it or not. He was one of the people they actually brought into and did a live to tape audition with an audience to get Bob's job, Mike Richards. Well, I don't know what I did. I don't know why I rubbed him wrong. I don't know if I reminded him of Mr. Barker or anybody that knew anything about that show. They got rid of. I mean, it's what a manager who's not so confident in his managerial skills does. He doesn't want anybody else around him know what kind of mistakes he's making, or her.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was really no good reason. But after 3 years with Drew, my contract was up. They didn't renew me. So it wasn't a firing. It wasn't a leaving. It was a end of a contract period.
So let's talk a little bit about your motivational speaking and your new book. We've only got 15 minutes left, I just realized. We haven't even got to the good stuff.
The speaking is something I've always done. I love doing it, whether it's online like this or with a bunch of people or live. A lot of Christian organizations that do a lot of those. They seem to be very interested in anything positive and uplifting, which is a wonderful thing in life. And the book, I mean, and the speaking now is all really geared around the message in the book. And that was that I alluded to earlier, that, I had a dream as a little kid that I was going to work with Bob Barker at The Price is Right. And it was tunnel vision for me to get there. And all I could think of all my life was, is this decision going to get me one step closer to Los Angeles, CBS, and Bob Barker at The Price is Right? If the answer was yes, I went and did it. I went to that college, or I took that radio job, in some market, someplace. And so it was just a matter of about focus and how you can kind of tell what your purpose on the planet is. If you go back and think, God, what was it I always wanted to do in life? What was that one thing that I thought, gee, I can't. I'm married now, or gee, I can't. I'm in school now, or gee, I can't. I'm in this job in this market now, or gee, I can't. It's not true, man. It's not true. You can still have that dream in life, and you just got to make a little shift, a little parallel shift in universes, and come to the thinking of, I'm here now to work on getting me on American Idol, if that's what your dream was. You know, this is a stepping stone to getting me there. And here's what I'm going to do to get me out of here. And to that, I tell the story about, I was at a university here in Tampa, and I always take questions at the end, and the girl raises her hand and she says, but how can I work every day here? I'm in classes, 8 hours a day. I've got homework at night. I've got, I said, well, it doesn't matter how long you work on it each day, just as long as every day, somehow, somewhere, you've focused on, is this going to get me one step closer to that? And I asked her, and that's why I said American Idol. I said, well, what's your ultimate goal in life? What do you want to do? And she said, I want to be a singer-songwriter. All these girls today with Taylor Swift, they all want to be singer-songwriter. Not mocking. I've seen enough of those shows. They're all freaking fantastic. It's like, where did they get this talent? So anyway, she says, I want to be a singer-songwriter someday. And I said, okay, great. What did you do today to get yourself one step closer to that goal? Well, I told you, I had class all day, and now I'm here listening to this. And when I get home, I've got to do, I said, but will you have time later tonight to take 10 minutes and write down some lyrics? Will you have time 10 minutes later on tonight to get on the internet and write down some record company label names and phone numbers that you can contact tomorrow about trying to get some representation, or where you can send your tape and resume to? Will you be able to do that? I just went through maybe 5-6 things that she could do that day that would get her one step closer. And it's like, oh, I get it. I got you. Send one letter, send one resume tape, make one phone call, one every day. This is not new. This is not my, I didn't come up with this. This is straight from Tony Robbins. I took a Tony Robbins course back in early 80s. And the one thing I learned from, back then it was on cassette tapes, the 30 or so tapes that were in the program, is do one thing every day that's going to get you one step closer to your ultimate goal in life, and you'll get there. It's a matter of like physics. It just happens. And not only do you find yourself doing one thing every day when you lay down to bed, you'll be like, oh God, I not only dug up that dude's name and phone number, I freaking called him today too. And all of a sudden you're doing 2 things every day, 3 things every day. And that timeline that was so mammothly far away starts shrinking. Here's your goal, and here's you. And oh my God. And it happens. It can happen. I feel like Bill Murray and Scrooged. I don't know if you ever saw it, but it can happen. It can happen.
Classic film. I got it, unfortunately. Oh yeah. No, that's awesome, man. I mean that, I when you say those things, I mean, I definitely can agree with that, because growing up, I even still to this day, it's been hard for me to find a real radio job, because everybody around this area here, and beyond, it seems like are so fickle nowadays to hiring, a good, or a talent that really is hungry. And I've always loved interviewing, and like I said, 20 years of doing it here as of next year. This podcast wouldn't have been a thing without, finding other people that kind of shared that same passion that I had. Not saying that they have to be exactly like me, but the fact that they all kind of have something to do with pop culture in one way or another. And that's what makes this show, that I think, great, because, we've been able to do things that most people around this area aren't able to do.
Yeah.
Like, we're interviewing you now. I mean, that's like, I don't know
Oh,
how many
well,
people.
this show is going to take off now.
Oh yeah, oh yeah! Finally,
No, just
that
make
right
sure.
guess.
And I'm sure you're doing all these things. Just, you've got the platform now. It's up and running. Just make sure you do all the things behind the scenes that need to be done with promotion and marketing. I mean, getting things out on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and just promoting the show and getting the most viewers on every show and start monetizing things. You know what I mean? And it takes a little bit of work behind the scenes. You might be making a little card or some kind of cool graphic once a week, about your show. But man, push it out there. Push it. It'll happen.
Well, that's what we're trying to do. I mean, now that thanks to the gift of AI, I'm able to make anything I want now.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm using it for good. I'm not using it for negative.
Good.
I'm using it for positive. So.
Take a picture of me, put me in a suit on the stage of The Price is Right with Bob Barker's microphone. And as your graphic.
I'm sure
that'd be my dream.
Well, we appreciate you, Rich. I mean, seriously, this has been an honor to have you on, no matter what.
My pleasure, Frankie, Mama T. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate you guys so much.
I had Mama T come on because, like I said, she does good research. She's helped me many, many times before where I've been a little clueless or a little lost stuff. So she's
I appreciate her too.
My other side of my brain, kind of like, okay.
Oh my God, Rich Field just said he appreciates me.
Oh, wow. So for people that want to get to know more about you and your story, I mean, how can they do so?
Yeah, where'd they get the book?
Glad you asked. Is that backwards on your screen or is it showing nice?
Oh, it's right. It's the right way.
It's called Trust Your Inner GPS. It's really how trusting my intuition. It's like your inner GPS. It's this guidance system we all have in our bodies. It's about how I trusted my intuition to manifest my way to Bob Barker and The Price is Right. And it's loaded with all kinds of personal pictures and everything, backstage stories, and first time Bob Barker screamed at me, and all kinds of cool stuff, behind the scenes kind of stuff with the models and stuff like that. So you can go to my website, richfields.tv. It'll take you to both the Amazon book, hardcover and paperback. You can also get the audio version of the book at richfields.tv. I voice it. And it was very different, after 40 some years in broadcasting to voice my own words again. It was different and weird and emotional. And so don't get me started. As I get old, I get softer and
yeah.
I'm no spring chicken either. I was 5 years old when you graduated.
Oh, those were good days.
And I wasn't even born when you graduated. So, hey, I was born in 83. So.
But anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
Yes, we appreciate you too. And, this has been a good way to end the interviews for 2025 with our 66th interview with Mr. Rich Fields from The Price is Right. And a broadcasting legend, I'd say.
Oh, bless your heart.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate you. Thanks again.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Monty.
Thanks, Rich. Well, that was cool.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you. I'm going to keep the recorder on just for a little bit so we get our afterthoughts in there. No, I do sincerely appreciate Mama T, because I know we a lot of people say, oh well, we bump heads so much, but you know what? When I really need you, you come out strong. Like when I really need you, when I'm just there to make to roast you, then I know you're gonna roast me back. But people have to realize that you're a more intelligent lady than you look. So
yeah, it's not just all beauty.
We've learned a lot from each other, but I hope
I'm not just a pretty price.
Oh, me too. All right. Well, we'll talk to you later, Mama T. Thanks for being on. We'll see you for next season. All right, bye. Let's take it out there you go. And that was our interview with Rich Fields. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm Frankie Slauson. Thanks for another great year. Our 2025 season is over. And we'll see you with season 6 of Frankie Slauson's Renegade Radio with some more new interviews coming up real soon. Monday, January 12th. Don't forget the date. Monday, January 12th at 5 p.m. Central Daylight Time on Facebook. Bye-bye.